In today's episode, we're going to talk about something that many of you have been feeling but haven't been able to put into words. It's that sense of feeling lost, even though you're doing everything right. You're working hard, you're pursuing goals, you understand concepts like growth mindset and putting in the effort, and yet something still feels off. You look around at your life and wonder, how did I get here? This is especially confusing if you were that smart kid growing up, the child everyone had high hopes for. Maybe you were great at sports or academics came naturally to you. Your teachers would say things like, she's going places or he has so much potential, and you believed them. You thought by now you would have it all figured out. A fulfilling career, meaningful relationships, a sense of purpose. But instead, you're feeling disconnected, like you're watching your life happen rather than living it. So, what's going on here? Why do so many former smart kids end up feeling lost as adults? That's what we're going to explore today. And I want to be clear, this is not about not working hard enough or not having the right mindset. You've probably already heard all of that. This is about something deeper, the gap between the external markers of success and your internal experience of life. So let's start by understanding what's actually happening when a bright, promising young person grows up and feels lost. The first thing to recognize is that there's a fundamental difference between childhood success and adult fulfillment. When you're young, the path is clear and the feedback is immediate. You get good grades, people applaud. You win a game, everyone cheers. The rules are straightforward and the rewards are clear. But adulthood doesn't work that way. What does success even mean now? Is it making money, finding love, making a difference, having a nice home? There is no report card for life satisfaction. There is no trophy for finding meaning. This is especially true if you build your identity around being the smart one or the talented one. When your sense of self is wrapped up in achievement, what happens when achievement alone stops feeling satisfying? What happens when you get the promotion, buy the house, or reach the milestone and still feel emptiness? Many of us have been so focused on achieving, on proving ourselves, that we never stop to question whether we're climbing towards something we actually want. We've been playing a game without asking if it's the game we want to win. This brings us to an important distinction, the difference between external solutions and internal problems. Society tells us that if we just get the right job, earn enough money, find the right partner, live in the right neighborhood, then we'll feel fulfilled. But the truth is, external achievements rarely solve internal emptiness. Think about it this way. No amount of career success will make you feel purposeful if your work doesn't align with your values. No amount of social status will make you feel seen if you're not showing up authentically. No amount of money will make you feel secure if you don't believe you're enough. Now, I'm not saying external achievements don't matter. They do. Financial stability, professional recognition, comfortable living conditions, these things provide a foundation for well-being. But they are necessary, not sufficient. They're the ground floor, not the entire building. What's often missing for the former smart kid is a sense of meaning, connection, and authentic engagement with life. And this is where it gets tricky. Building that meaning and connection requires a completely different skill set than the one that made you successful as a child. When you were young, your intelligence, talent, or athletic ability set you apart. You could rely on those natural qualities to succeed. But creating a meaningful adult life isn't about being smart or talented. It's about being intentional, vulnerable, and willing to explore beyond the boundaries of what's familiar and comfortable. This brings us to another key point, the difference between intelligence and wisdom. Intelligence is about processing information, solving problems, and acquiring knowledge. Wisdom is about understanding what matters, making value-aligned choices, and finding meaning in the middle of complexity. Many smart kids grow up with plenty of intelligence but struggle with developing wisdom. They've spent years optimizing for achievement rather than meaning, accumulating credentials rather than experiences, and prioritizing being right over being fulfilled. So if you're feeling lost despite doing everything right, It might be because you've been optimizing for the wrong metrics. You've been trying to win at a game that doesn't actually deliver what you are seeking. Let's talk about another factor that often contributes to this sense of being lost: the comparison trap. In today's hyperconnected world, we are constantly exposed to curated versions of other people's lives. Social media feeds us a steady diet of highlight reels, promotions, weddings, vacations, achievements, creating the illusion that everyone else has it figured out. For the former smart kid, this can be especially painful. You were used to being ahead of the curve, the one others looked up to. Now, scrolling through Instagram or LinkedIn, it seems like everyone else is thriving while you're just surviving. But what's important for you to remember is that perception is not reality. This connects to a deeper issue many former smart kids face: the loneliness of feeling unseen. When you build your identity around achievement, you often learn to hide the parts of yourself that don't fit that image. You show the world your successes, but conceal your struggles. You talk about what you know, but you stay silent about what confuses you. Over time, this creates a particular kind of isolation, being surrounded by people who know your resume, but not your heart. And when this loneliness becomes too painful, many former smart kids retreat into defensive arrogance. Instead of admitting you're struggling, you convince yourself you're simply too deep, too intelligent, or too different for others to understand. This creates a wall between you and everyone else, and while it protects your ego, it deepens your isolation. Because real connection requires vulnerability, not superiority. The very defense mechanism that protects you from feeling inadequate ends up preventing the authentic relationships you actually need. So, what's the way forward? If you're a former smart kid feeling lost in adulthood, how do you find your way? The answer is not about working harder or achieving more. It's about fundamentally shifting how you approach your life. Here are some specific strategies to consider. First, recognize that meaning comes from engagement, not achievement. The research on happiness and fulfillment consistently shows that human beings thrive when they deeply engage in activities that matter to them, not when they're accumulating accomplishments or possessions. This means shifting from asking questions like, "What will make me successful?" to "What genuinely absorbs me? What makes me lose track of time? What would I do even if no one ever applauded or noticed?" Second, start building your life around values rather than goals. Goals about reaching specific endpoints, getting a job, buying the house, achieving the milestone. Values are about how you want to live along the way. When you clarify your core values like connection, creativity, courage, contribution, you create an internal compass that guides your choices regardless of external outcomes. For example, if you value learning, then exploring a new field can be meaningful, even if it doesn't lead to career advancement. Third, embrace the discomfort of not knowing. Many smart kids dislike uncertainty because they're used to having the answers. But the most meaningful aspects of life, love, purpose, growth, are not problems to solve, they're journeys to experience. And learning to sit with questions rather than rushing to the answers is a crucial skill for finding your way. Fourth, build communities of authentic connection. Remember that loneliness we talked about? The antidote to that loneliness is creating relationships where you can show up fully with all your contradictions and complexities. This might mean finding people who share your interest, but not necessarily your professional background. It might mean opening up to existing friends about what you're really feeling rather than maintaining the appearance that everything's fine. Finally, consider intentionally introducing challenges into your life. One of the paradoxes for smart kids is that they often avoid situations where they might not excel. But meaningful growth usually happens at the edges of your comfort zone. This doesn't mean setting yourself up for failure. It means deliberately seeking experiences that stretch you. Not just intellectually, but emotionally, socially, and spiritually. It might mean traveling somewhere unfamiliar, learning a skill where you have no natural talent, or having conversation about topics that make you uncomfortable. A smart person finds ways to intentionally introduce incentives, including pain or challenges, to encourage constructive, meaningful action. A smart person understands that comfort is often the enemy of growth, and that the path to feeling found sometimes requires being willing to feel lost in new ways. So, if you're the former smart kid who's now feeling lost despite doing everything right, know that you're not alone. And the strategies that made you successful in school are not necessarily the ones that will make you fulfilled in life. So, what do you think about this topic? Let me know in the comments below, and please like this video and share it with someone who you think might benefit from its message.